A guy who doesn't need much introduction, and whether he's wearing Nike or not, he's still cool. Jake Toolson. Jake Toolson. Yes, he is wearing Nike for BYU. Yeah. He is back at the Y. Welcome back, Jake.
Thank you.
Jake?
It's good to be back.
It's been a few years, and it's great to have you. And obviously, you've talked about this a lot, but Mark Pope gets hired here. When does the idea of, hey, maybe I go back to BYU come into focus?
I think at first, well, obviously when Coach took the job, I entered the transfer portal, and I just kind of wanted to, receive some information, direct information, and I kind of wanted to just open things up. I think at first, Coach was kind of just checking in on me as a person and just making sure I was all right. And then I had to kind of ask him and urge him to recruit me, because at first he wanted to just make sure I was okay, which I really appreciated. But I don't know. At first it was kind of weird because it all just happened so fast. And, one day you're at UVU and these guys are down the road, and then the next day my coach is the coach there, and then things just changed so fast. So it was kind of weird how all that happened, but we're here, so I'm really excited to be here.
Were you going to put your name in the transfer portal regardless, or was that because Mark left?
Yeah, my plan was just to stay at UVU, run it back with that team and coach and everyone, but once that kind of happened, I just decided that would be best for me.
Okay, then you become one of the top available prospects as a grad transfer in the portal, and the likes of Duke and Virginia and some of these other notable programs are like, hey, yeah, we'll take the WAC Player of the Year. We'd seriously consider him. And then BYU comes back into the picture with Mark Pope. So, what was that like, weighing all those options and talking to your wife, and you've got a family and all this stuff?
Yeah, it was a cool experience. I had to remind myself the whole time that I was in control and that I didn't have to do anything that I didn't want to do. And yeah, it was kind of stressful. I was on the phone a lot, but I was kind of in a unique position because for me, like you said, I have a family, and it's just kind of different for me. So I kind of had a good idea of what I wanted out of this whole thing before I even entered the portal of, teams that I would talk to, places I would want to play, or things like that. So for me, that kind of made it a little bit easier, and just, yeah, talking with my family and just considering all the options, that's kind of the process that we took.
Hey, when you throw in Duke and Virginia, and let's be honest, when Duke comes into the picture, typically that has not been a good thing for BYU with certain recruits recently, right? How enticing were those offers? How close were you to going there versus, say, staying here or coming to BYU?
Yeah, it was cool. Obviously those universities, those places are legendary and everything like that, but for me, I kind of wanted, like I said, I knew what I wanted out of this, and I knew that, this is my last year to try and do something to create as many opportunities for myself and my family for the future. And I had tried to just not be wowed by all that, because this is my, third time doing this, being recruited and choosing a school. So
perhaps that helped
in high school, I probably would have done something like that, just go to the coolest place or go to wherever, will get me the most followers. But it's not about that for me right now. It's about what's best for me and my family. And then, we could talk about all the things we talked about with these guys, but yeah, so that's kind of what my thought process was.
So perhaps going through this 2 previous times aided you in this?
I would say,
and being a dad now?
Yeah, life has changed a lot since the first time, the second time. So I think that all kind of helped me make the best decision possible.
You're the perfect BYU guy, right? You're a dad over in college.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
Yes. No,
That's great.
shout out to Sarah, shout out to Gus. They're the best. We're gonna have them on Sports Nation one of these days.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, bring them in.
Let's do it. Jake Toolson with us on BYU Sports Nation.
Segment,
of course, yes. Get the important people in front of the camera.
That's right.
Jake, you obviously have BYU ties because of your past here, and you're the nephew of Danny Ainge. Your dad's cousins with Andy Toolson. What was the reaction of extended family members when you made the decision to come back to BYU?
Well, I think everyone was really excited, and everyone kind of just wanted what was best for me, regardless of where it was. But obviously, BYU is the place that they all kind of have a tie to, and everyone's been really excited. Everyone was always checking in with me, you know, when Coach took the job, and before I even knew anything, they're like, "Oh, you're going back to BYU, right?" And I'm like, "I don't know about that." And they wanted to just,
So they called it.
yeah. I mean, everyone was hitting me up saying, "Oh, what are the possibilities, the return to BYU?" And I'm just like, I don't know, but it's just been cool. It's been a fun experience. Everyone's been really excited, and I'm looking forward to kind of just putting this part behind us and just getting to work with the team and starting to work for next season.
I know you're close with the Warner brothers,
Yeah.
Fred and Troy,
And Micah.
and Micah Simon.
Yeah.
Those guys are trouble, man.
Hey, come on now.
They're going to take partial credit for recruiting you back to BYU,
for
don't you
sure.
think?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a lot, and those guys have supported me since, you know, I left, and we've been boys ever since then. But yeah, they're really excited. They're saying they would come to the games last year just because they like to watch basketball, but now they're like, man, we're going to be courtside at every game.
Yes.
They're going to be my hype man, just gassing me up on the sidelines. So I'm really excited. No, those guys are awesome. Shout out to them.
Mike is there all the time. I don't know that I've seen Troy there as much, so I'm excited to see Troy there. That's
Yeah,
Super
great.
fan
yeah.
Mika Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mika Simmons, as we like to call him. Okay, last year, your WAC player of the year, you shot 61% from 2, 45 from 3, 54 overall, 85 from the free throw line. What's gone into you becoming this elite shooter?
Did I really shoot 61%?
From 2.
Oh, from 2, not
From
from
two.
from
Yeah.
field goal.
You're
oh.
like, I did?
Oh.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
What's gone into becoming an elite shooter? And I use elite, Spencer.
Not
in
in
the
vain.
correct usage.
I know.
Yeah.
I like
Anyway.
that. What's gone into it? Well, I think I've always been able to shoot the ball, and I've always been a skilled and talented player, but I never really knew my game very well, and I never knew like who I was. And so going over to UVU kind of changed my whole mindset and changed my game and made me really efficient by just what me and Coach Fieger would do. We would sit down and we would have a plan every single day, you know, what types of shots we were going to take. We would work on finishes. We would work on threes. We would work on everything, getting to the free throw line. And I think working on the shots that I take in games, in practice, going game speed, is something that not a lot of players do. They just go in and shoot a bunch of random shots and crossover, step back, do all this stuff. But I made it important to me to take shots in practice that I'm going to take in the games. And so when I'm out there, I know exactly – I'm familiar with the shots that I'm shooting in the games. And I think that, you know, goes to show for the efficiency. But, yeah, I think UVU gave me kind of a new opportunity and kind of a fresh start to just kind of start over and just start fresh. And that's kind of how it happened.
Well, I'm glad that you bring up that phrase, fresh start, because it feels like the entire BYU basketball program is going through a fresh start right now. New staff, Coach Pope, you're back, and now Yoli Childs makes his announcement to return at the last moment. What were your conversations like with him leading up to that decision to come back and try and do something special?
Yeah. Well, when I showed up, I mean, Yoli was pretty much had his mind made up, but he was here. He was still around using the facilities and working out and everything. So I just had a chance to kind of get to know him because I've never really spent that much time around him. And so we had a lot of good conversations about – he just had a ton of questions about the staff and about my experience at UVU and, you know, these coaches and, you know, how they help their players and all that. And then I think the biggest thing was just going out there on the court and competing with him or competing against him, you know. We would come before workouts, we'd play one-on-one against each other, or we would in pickup. He always was guarding me, and I was trying to guard him. and I think, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that I had something to do with it, but it's not about that. I think he just realized that the pieces are in place for us to kind of do something here, and I think he wanted to be a part of that.
There are 8 seniors on the roster right now, which is a big number.
Yeah.
Give us an idea of what you guys are up to. And I know BYU basketball put out a strength and conditioning video out yesterday, which was great. But how are you guys preparing for the season right now?
So we are doing team workouts every other week. So we'll have 4 workouts a week on the court with the coaches. And right now we're working on a lot of defense, just kind of early stages of principles and just kind of building our defense.
Is it similar to what you ran at UVU?
Yeah, it is. We're working with Coach Shork. Shout out to Coach Shork. We're working with him in the weight room, just building our bodies, getting stronger, getting in great shape. And we're getting a lot of shots up. So right now it's just, a lot of skill development, a lot of just early stuff to try and put it in. So once we can start practicing as a team, we can kind of hit the ground running. But the energy's been great. The guys have been great. It's a lot of fun to be around a bunch of guys that are hungry and that want to win. And I'm really excited about all the possibilities.
No Italian class?
What'd you say?
No Italian class? You guys are going to Italy?
Oh yeah, no Italian class.
Okay. Yeah, just have a translator then.
Yeah.
That will work out. I don't think anyone went on their mission to Italy, right? A translator, they'll get it.
Yeah. Well, just call Eric Mika, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, you can go.
Jake, great to talk with you again, man. Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Thank
dude.
you.
We're really excited you're back.
Thank you.
Let's give you some
Great to see
BYU
you.
Sports Nation karma for the workouts, the build-up to the summer. And yes, it's been a while, so we need you to sign our Sailor Coug flag.
We've needed the WAC Player of the Year signature.
Awesome.
We didn't know how we were going to get it, so thanks for coming back to BYU.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, good to see you, Jake. Coming up, a year ago, he was on his mission in Georgia. This June, he's a 6th-round Major League Baseball draft pick. Shortstop Jackson Clough is in studio.
And which teams do you want to see BYU basketball schedule a series with? Like stupid games, what we're talking about. We'll read some of your tweets next. This is BYU Sports Nation.